Man, good grief. See, luckily, the reason why there's not a lot of snot, the mustache catches a lot of
buffer.
it. So it's kind of, it's like distributing it.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about that
my
quite
nose,
yet.
I don't have a mustache. My nose is right. Hello and welcome to our very first edition of Wizards on Fire, the show where guests are interviewed by a host while eating progressively hotter wings. I'm Mr. Vasa, and now joining me is Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson is not only a teacher and coach here at Windsor High School, but also a graduate of the class of 2006. Mr. Thompson, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
How you feeling about this grand experiment?
You know, I would say nervous, but really, what do I got to be nervous about?
What do you got? You got a football game tonight, you're probably more nervous about that.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm more nervous about the wings. But it's okay, the crew, they look nervous, so I'll just compose myself so then they're not nervous.
Perfect, perfect. It's all about the crew. For those of you watching, in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, you'll notice there's a QR code. We are sponsored by Windsor Wing Shack, and feel free to scan that QR code for up-to-date specials on all of Windsor Wing Shack's special wings. Shall we begin?
Yeah, let's do it.
We are going to dive into hot. This is the hot one from Windsor Wing Shack, just the lowest level of heat. And so let's go ahead and dive in, see how it is.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. Mild.
A nice little precursor to what's coming.
Building up to the future.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought I'd go easy on you.
Fear the future. I appreciate some easy ones leading up to some later ones.
Some insanity. First question, as a teacher and leader at Windsor High School, you have made a difference in countless students' lives. What is it that you enjoy about teaching, and how are you able to interact so well with students?
I'm curious. I think that helps with interacting with students. Ultimately, as human beings, we want to talk about ourselves. I mean, heck, an interview like this, hey, my endorphins are running wild because we're talking about me. But I think also, too, that helps with the connection to students. But I just enjoy the pre and post with student development. When they come in, they're these imperfect beings, adorable little freshmen, and by the time they leave, they're like functioning members of society as adults. And just knowing that I have any sort of, if I assist in any way in that development, like that's what keeps me going here. So.
When did you know you were going to be a teacher?
Actually, I was sitting, because previously I was in law enforcement. I was a police officer for 2 years. Sitting in the squad car one morning, about 4 in the morning, I was on my 8th cup of coffee, hating life. I sucked at it. I was not a good police officer.
Okay.
And I was sitting there thinking, if I could go back and do it all again, I'd be a teacher. And then I said to myself, yeah, dummy, you're 25, go back and do it. So, that's been over 11 years now. And both my parents are teachers, principals, it's definitely the family business. And, maybe it was some adolescent view of the world to try it my own way. And then, teaching kept on calling and I finally answered. So.
And how long have you been a coach?
So I've been a coach for 11 years since I've taught, but for football, this is year 9 for me.
Okay.
And then knowledgeable year 9 as the head coach, 11 overall. I coached baseball for 6 years at the start of my career, so a little bit of everything.
All right, so we dive into number 2.
Yeah, let's go.
Golden hot from Windsor Wing Shack.
It's good.
Exactly as it says.
Golden. I don't exactly know what golden tastes like, but it's probably that.
Gold tastes like something. That's what it is right there. What is it about growing up in Windsor that you remember most, and how do you feel about how Windsor has changed since you were young and now that you're a teacher here in Windsor, and Windsor High School for both of them?
Well, Windsor as a community, it just had that small town feel. I mean, anybody who's been here for a while knows that it's had that feel. And even with the growth, it's funny how sometimes it maintains that. Yeah, we have more than just Manweilers and Steele's Market. None of you know what that is, by the way. That's okay. Manweilers is still here, but none of you have had Steele's Market.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got King
now.
Supers, Safeway. Exactly. Just like everything that used to be something as a church now. But it still has that feel. I mean, I'll go to a game on, like we have a game on Friday night. After the game, there's pillars of the community that have been there since the 1970s, and they still remember from when I went to church with them and those sorts of things. So it still has that small town feel. And yeah, that was one of the things that brought me back also. But then as a school, gosh, it's almost unrecognizable. I mean, we used to have brick everywhere, those old lockers, we had the fireside room. Like right now where we are right here, we'd basically be in the fireside room-ish. And so cosmetically, a lot of it has changed, but I think the soul of it hasn't.
Okay.
And there's been a lot of things that have tried to change the soul of it. Yeah, we go through, disasters, whether they're, environmental disasters or pandemics. We go through changes of administration, heck, we go through teachers that have been here for 30 years that finally retire, and there's some turnover there, but I think the soul is still there.
Okay.
And frankly, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to be a part of the student council, is to try and regain that soul that was just kind of sitting there. We just needed someone to grab it and distribute it, and here we go.
And the fireside room had an actual fireplace in it.
Had an actual fireplace in it. Yeah, that's actually where we had our student council meetings back in the day. But then also, after we would strike the set for plays, that's where we would have like our after play dinner and stuff like that. So fond memories of that. And then connected to the cafeteria, so.
Shall we go into wing number 3?
Yeah.
So this is straight from San Francisco. It's called Wing Time. It says it's medium. I'll let you tell me what you think.
Yeah, you said you kind of disagreed with that. So actually, I do like San Fran. That's where my wife and I went on our honeymoon.
Oh, nice.
We took the Amtrak train all the way from Denver to Berkeley. See, I'm giving details so I don't have to think about the spice. And
Is it working?
yeah, actually, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm getting a vinegar hint to it. It's definitely hotter. I wouldn't call this medium.
Yeah, right? I can't imagine what the hot tastes like.
No, good grief. So, yeah, I like San Francisco. We also went to San Diego a couple of years after that. My wife vibed more with San Diego. I vibed with Frisco. It was just a fun place to
I
be.
like San Francisco a lot too. Wine country for sure.
Yes, yeah.
Really appreciated that. You are a football nut.
Yeah.
I have found out that you follow every existable football league to a fault almost, playing fantasy football.
Yep.
In the UFL.
Yep.
Which was the springtime football league.
Yep.
Certainly follow football through the school and professional football as well, to the point where you have figurines that you paint, correct?
Yeah. That's one of the things I do in my free time, kind of a hobby. I 3D print figures and then I customize them and paint them. There was this old toy line in the early 90s to early 2000s called Starting Lineup, little 4.5-inch figures.
Yeah.
And I collected those like crazy as a kid. And then, it went out of circulation in 2000.
Sure.
So I customize them, and then now that I've got a 3D printer, I can make my own. But yeah, I probably have a problem with football.
It's not a problem.
I'm a year-round guy.
Yeah.
The CFL week, I've already placed my fantasy football team for the CFL week.
Okay.
I watched the UFL, I followed the XFL, the USFL. Heck, I might have been one of 6 people who watched the AAF back in 2019. I watch indoor football. Like I'm a year-round football guy. And frankly, proper football gets to do that without being judged.
I agree.
Year-round soccer. I think American football should have the same thing.
I agree.
So I am a pioneer in that regard.
Nice.
Way to
lay the trail for the rest of us.
Right? My sacrifice.
What is it
You'll all
about
thank me.
football that you like so much? And if you could change one thing about the game, what would you change?
Ooh. Gosh. Well, football as itself, I've always had a love for it since a kid. Like, it's not just the violent part of it, but it's the strategy.
Okay.
I mean, they want to do something, how do you stop them? As a defensive coordinator, that's one of my favorite parts about preparing for a football game.
Okay.
Right, here's what they want to do. How do we stop them from what they want to do? And then when they make a mistake, how do we capitalize and give the ball back to our offense? Overtime rules.
Okay.
I think it should go to more of a shootout model. Like you have 3 possessions from the 5. Okay. How many can you score?
That's cool.
You want to talk about like intense
Yeah.
television, and I mean, again,
Made for television.
soccer shootouts are some of the most exciting,
Right.
flipping things that you can do.
Yeah.
And why can't American football do that? I mean,
Good question. Good
So-
question. Let's talk to the people. Shall we dive into my favorite, garlic hot?
Garlic hot.
I like the garlic hot. Had some last night, having it again tonight.
Okay. Leftovers tonight or fresh?
No, well, so for football games or any sporting event,
Okay.
we do pizza.
Oh,
So
cool. Yeah.
Pelican Joe's hooks us up with that. So
Sweet.
I'll have pizza tonight. Had wings last night. It's
Okay.
a healthy diet.
Yeah. You're looking good, by the way.
Thank
I mean,
you. I
on
appreciate
pizza
that. You
and
look
wings.
great too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Right on. You're also a big fan of wrestling. WWE,
AEW.
AEW as well.
Sorry, I shouldn't have corrected you. I should have played dumb.
No,
That was
get
my
it, bud.
opportunity. I don't know what you're talking about, Mike.
If you were a wrestler, what would be your wrestling name? And what would be your signature move?
Who gave you this
I
information? I'm
can't
curious.
reveal my sources.
Mike, I don't have to, fantasize about what my name would be if I were a wrestler. My friends and I, through middle school and high school, had a wrestling organization.
Really? Kind of
Yes.
like Fight Club?
Well, we filmed it, so we would
Oh.
violate that first. And no, you can't see any clips. They're not on the
Damn,
internet.
we-
I made sure we
should've
scrubbed them.
looked.
They're not on
We
there.
should have looked.
Our company was called Mountain Promotional Championship Wrestling.
Wow,
So
you-
MPCW. We had a title, we had storylines, we had characters. My character, who is a main face, face in wrestling lingo is that you're a hero. The heel would be the bad guy.
Okay.
I was a face, and my name was Madman. So Madman Mike Thompson.
Wow,
And,
nice. I like it.
And there was a font specific to it. It would, it's capital M, little a, capital D, so you know it's edgy.
Oh, yeah.
And then capital M, little a, capital N.
Way to brand yourself.
And my signature move was actually the Hedeker Slam.
Wow.
Yeah,
Sounds
so
dangerous.
it's a modified Samoan slam where it's you put your shoulder into their armpit so their arm is over, and then you grab the opposite side collarbone, and then in a lifting turning motion you slam them over. So think about the rock bottom with a little twist.
Yeah.
quite literally.
I'm not really up to date on my wrestling, so
Oh,
I
okay.
can't really.
Well, if you
picture
Google
that, but
rock bottom,
I'll have to look that up.
and then you kinda
I can
twist
be
it.
Educated on that.
Yeah, so that was my finisher, and we went all out. Actually, Hall of Fame inductee Wes White was our announcer. He was our commentator.
nice.
So we had commentators going. We had entrance music. We had
That's great.
yeah.
you sure there's no footage of this?
Yeah, I'm certain. I'm certain there's no footage of this. Yeah, and some of the injuries that I had during that
really?
time included 2 broken noses, a broken orbital bone. That one was in the main event of one of our events, where the finish was a ladder match, and I was
course it
pushed.
was.
I was pushed off the ladder by my rival, Darkchild, played by one of my best friends growing up. He was the main heel of the company,
Okay.
and I'm supposed to go through a table. Well, I was planning on going through the table in the shoulder, the proper
Right,
bump.
right.
So whenever you take a big hit, they call it a bump. And so,
We're getting
see, I can't help but
education
teach. And so I'm going, but my foot catches on one of the rungs of the ladder. So I over-rotate to where I'm going now head first, and I throw my hands down to prevent it. Well, it's a pre-cut table. So when I throw my hands through, a piece of it just shoots up and breaks my orbital bone.
Wow. Well, we've kind of soft-toed this so far, and
Okay.
now we're about to jump into the devils.
Let's do it.
The next one is called Ghost Garlic, sauce from Wing Shack. It's their sauce of the month. They're selling bottles of it. Apparently, they're almost sold out, but
Okay. Well, that could be good.
yeah.
I mean, ooh, that's a big piece. Yeah, why not? If you're wondering why I'm using my hands like a savage, I don't want to mess up the
Don't touch your face. Don't touch the
Oh,
face.
yeah. I know.
Okay.
All right, I know. All right.
I can taste the ghost,
I do. Yep.
Yeah.
So anytime ghost is in the name,
right?
they don't do it because, the flavor is ghosting.
No,
Like, you
no,
know,
it's not mysterious.
okay. Yeah, it's got some good.
That's all right. Yeah,
that's all right.
That was kind of and now it's creeping.
Yeah.
a little bit slower.
It's building a little bit.
You kind of touched on this with your last answer, but it's rumored that you stabbed yourself with a pencil in middle school, and the blood still exists in the halls of Windsor Middle School.
It does. I have left my imprint on Windsor Middle School, quite literally. Yes, I was in Rick Marquardt's 7th grade science class.
Okay.
And saying that I stabbed myself, implies I did it on purpose. But yeah, so I was in English earlier that day, and I had a little tech deck, the the little like finger skateboards and whatnot.
Yeah.
I was working ollies, and I got it taken away earlier in the day. So I started doing ollies with my pencil. And you can see where this is going because it went eraser up, and as I stopped it, went in right here.
Oh, you still got the mark.
And then came out on that end. But
hey, you got it good.
Yeah, like it through and through. Like I could see the pencil on the other side. It was like one of those $1 million wounds, but the government must keep that money because I didn't see any of it.
Right.
And so, and so I'm just sitting there in shock.
Mr. Marquardt.
Mr. Marquardt, I just put my pencil through my hand. Again, things you don't think you're going to hear that day as a teacher.
Yeah.
It's like, what? So he tells me to go to the nurse. Well,
So you actually held up your hand
held
with
up
the
like
pencil. Wow, that's a visual.
like it's there. And there's no blood. There's really no pain.
Okay.
So I'm on my way back, and I'm thinking, this can't be healthy to just keep a pencil in my hand. So, dumb 13-year-old me or 12-year-old me decides I'm gonna.
Oh, just pull it out.
Yeah, pulled it out.
Just like a sliver.
There was the pain. There was the blood. And so I'm going through the hallways, and now it's condemned. So, it's the asbestos part that was fine for us.
Right,
but now
no asbestos got in your wound, I'm sure.
No, not at all. Well, I hope not. Didn't think about that. And so I'm going that way, and so I don't want blood all over the place. So I'm wrapping my hand in my shirt. So by the time I get to the nurse, it looks like I have like a gunshot wound in my gut, and everybody's panicking. These sorts. No, it's my hand. And so, a couple stitches, really no damage to ligament. Like it was one of those 1 in a million shots.
That is crazy.
We ready for the bear?
I think so. We're stepping into the Bear Hot. This is the hottest wing at Wing Shack. I have had this before, and
I'm trying to remember the last time I did. My hands aren't shaking. Your hands are shaking. That was a mistake, licking it extra.
yeah, you didn't have to go with that extra.
I didn't.
Just sticking to the basics is all right with us here.
That's pretty good, actually. Something I'm noticing. Progressive.
Yeah.
Like your taste buds start getting used to it, but I think that's going to be a false sense of confidence. His taste buds aren't going to be ready for that one.
Not for the bomb. We'll get to that one in a minute.
Okay.
That's our finale. You mentioned this earlier, but we're going to go a little deeper. You were a police officer for a couple years.
Yep.
Self-professed bad police officer.
Well, it more like I was good at some things.
Okay.
And I hated it. Like you have to be the right kind of person to do that, and I wasn't. And so, again, I commend people who can do it and do it well. Interrogations, I was great at. Investigations, I was great at.
Nice.
Things that
Detective.
still actually kind of help me as a teacher.
Yeah.
Traffic tickets, I'd forget the flipping date. And so I had an FTO who, field training officer, who said, after I do like an interrogation, doing it like it's like I'm a vet, and then he's like, how do you forget the flipping date after doing an interrogation like that? And so that was kind of the story of my policing career.
Okay.
But on top of that, and more so, the ultimate reason why I quit, because when you're bad at something, you can get better at it.
Sure.
Was the stress and what it was doing to my marriage. Even if I was 65 and 2 weeks from retirement, it's never too late.
Yeah.
So having that moment of, okay, let's do this, and went into teaching. So.
And on that note, okay.
Let's do it.
Let's do this.
Okay.
Thebomb.com, 135,000 on the Scoville scale.
Jesus. I mean, geez Louise, sorry.
Hey, you've done really well.
I have.
With no cussing, you've done great.
You think this is too big of a piece?
Oh, I just took a big bite. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, hard on the swallow.
Yeah.
That's the first one that I felt going down my throat.
Yeah, same. I was just thinking that same thing. It's like, I can feel that all the way down.
Yeah. Could be a very interesting day for the rest of the day for both of us.
I might need a sub the rest of the day.
Miss Temple, calling Miss Temple.
It's good.
It's good. It's not as, I gotta say,
Yeah. Like this took
Based on
down
what-
Shaq for crying out loud. I was thinking that like
Made
my face
Cool
would be
J cuss like a sailor.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little more.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? As you salivate, it actually gets worse.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now I'm starting to see it.
And apparently water only ramps it up.
Yeah, that's why I went for the milk.
False prophet there.
But it's funny, you can tell where the milk didn't touch because it's like calm and still on fire.
Yeah. My lips are burning a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's Oh.
All right, last question.
Okay.
You could change your focus a little bit.
Okay.
You're a big time gamer, video games. Mm-hmm. And I have heard that you like to play historical video games.
Oh heck yeah.
And your son likes to watch. So there's a level of violence in those games. How do you determine how old is your son?
He's 7.
Okay. How do you determine what he can see, and how do you teach a little history while you're playing video games?
Controlling what he can see is.
Sorry, I'm distracted with the tongue. What was the question? Okay, controlling what he can see. Well, so on some of those games, so like the game that I like,
is Assassin's Creed. That's kind of my go-to there. And over the summer, my son had an interest with. One second. It's
coming. It's coming.
It is.
It's still coming.
Wow, this is resilient. Like,
well, and there's orange juice in it. I don't know if you're tasting any orange juice.
I am not.
No,
but
me either.
again, like
Not
I
a
am
drop of
staving
orange
off
juice.
that scurvy just in case with that vitamin C. So anyway, wow, I suck at answering this question. So you can turn the blood settings off on some of those too.
Okay.
So doing that goes a long way. And usually I try and play any of the older ones when he's around because the graphics aren't as good, the detail isn't as good. But as far as teaching, like, it's just natural because my son's so curious with those sorts of things. Talking makes it worse, is what I'm finding out.
There's nothing right now that's going to make it better.
It's like the breath that's coming
Yeah.
by. It's like, anyway. So he's just curious, like, we'll play Assassin's Creed Unity, which happens during the French Revolution.
Okay.
And so I get to talk to him about liberté, égalité, fraternité. See, I can still do that
Yeah,
with the hot
nice.
wing. Like,
Very
I'm
good.
surprised the tongue is working because it's starting to go numb. And so, he'll just ask, hey, what is that? I'm like, oh, that's Notre Dame, that's the cathedral. And then, just little pieces like that. And, yeah, he's just a curious kid, and if nothing else, he's hanging out with his dad while his dad's playing video games.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, it's pretty cool because now he takes on his own. Like, he's all the Lego stuff, which I gotta tell you, 6-year-old me is really jealous of my son because basically 90% of his room are just Legos. And I've built him like a cupboard that opens up and it's like Hogwarts because we've got all the different sets, and another one that's Star Wars. And of course he goes through it and it's like, Dad, I'm kind of into Batman now. It's like, all right, I guess I'm building you a Batcave because, want to be supportive and provide for you. Man, good grief. See, luckily, the reason why there's not a lot of snot, the mustache catches a lot of it. So it's kind of, it's like distributing it.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about that
my
quite
nose,
yet.
I don't have a mustache. My nose is right.
You should grow one.
Maybe.
I think you'd look good
Maybe.
with
I don't know
mustache.
if my wife would do that.
That's fair.
Well, Mr. Thompson, congratulations as the
did
inaugural
it.
guest on the Windsor Wing Shack Wizards on Fire. I commend you for making it to the end.
Yeah.
This camera. Tell us what's going on in your life and what can we look forward to from Mr. Thompson?
Oh, what's going on in my life? Good grief. Gosh, football, Knowledge Bowl starting up.
Okay.
Student council, working hard. Yeah, my wife and I are going to celebrate our 12th anniversary in October.
Oh, nice.
So that's the 12th
Congratulations.
anniversary of the worst decision she ever made, saying I do. In addition to that, my son Carter's in the 2nd grade. He started soccer.
Oh,
and so that's just a huge part of my life right now is how's practice going and those sorts of things. And what to look forward to, well, hopefully I can finish the rest of the school day. I don't know if that's something to look forward to. Hopefully I can get this all out of my system before the
game
game
time,
tonight.
yeah.
But here's the thing, football-wise, I got to be honest. We got a special group of kids, top to bottom, and we always do. But the big message that we're pushing this year is do whatever we have to do to get 17 weeks together. Because everybody else has those goals that are the obvious ones.
Yeah.
Ours is do whatever we have to do, whatever we can do to make sure that we are together as long as possible. And of those 17 weeks, this is week 3.
Here we go.
First contest. And so I'm really looking forward to it.
Right on. Well, good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being our first
Thank you.
ever.
Thank you, crew. Thank you.
You betcha. You betcha.
Now I'm just gonna chug this milk right now.
Good choice. I'll join you in chugging the milk.
Whew! Good grief. We did it.